Detoxers, it's Caroline Baker, and I'd like to welcome you back to the Mental Health Detox. If you're new here, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this channel. Today's interesting topic I have for you is how to stop ruminating thoughts for good. And if you don't know what ruminating thoughts are, don't worry, I'm pretty sure you've had them. And have you ever found yourself kind of replaying a scenario or a situation or argument in your head? And it's like it's just on a constant feedback loop. You can't stop it. But in that situation, you're finding yourself critiquing, analyzing. It's just on a constant feedback loop. You can't stop it. But in thinking about all the what ifs, the things that you didn't even know that you needed to know, all the things that you couldn't control but you can control now, and how you responded. Well, if you've ever had those negative thoughts, that's called rumination. Okay? So let's deep dive into this because I want to share some key tips with you all on how to stop these things for good and also bring you back to some type of peace of mind and back into your awareness in yourself right at the moment. Okay, so let's talk about why do we ruminate. Our brains try to problem solve by replaying situations instead of giving us solutions, but our brains are trying to work through these things and, these things that may have changed us. Some common triggers for ruminating thoughts is like you feel like you made a mistake in that situation. Maybe there's the fear of what's to come, the outcome of a decision that you made. Maybe there's a lot of unresolved emotions that happen for that conversation. Stress and anxiety. All these things cause our mind to start to ruminate on what happened, thinking about what we could have done differently, how to respond appropriately, or how to respond differently in case the situation happens again. And it's like it almost, your body's trying to protect you, but at the same time, it gets you stuck in this cycle. And that's called rumination. And that's why some of the reasons why we would do those things. So how do we shift from rumination to more of a reflection? That's a big difference between the two, between overthinking and actually having healthy reflection. Rumination, remember, keeps you stuck in that cycle, while reflection helps you to look back and learn from what happened. It gives you the tools and the mindset to think about forward thinking. So it's not necessarily you getting stuck in what happened, but it's like I'm taking what I learned from that and then I'm moving forward. And so it's just an easy exit out of those thoughts. Some things, if you're struggling with rumination right now, what can you do right now to stop these thoughts? Set a time limit on how much you think about this, a worry time limit. Give yourself maybe 5-10 minutes, maybe in the morning or when you have some downtime to just be in your head. Set a time limit on how much you're going to think about it. I'm only going to reflect on this, or I'm only going to focus on this situation for the next 10 minutes and then I'm moving on. Sometimes when we take control of our brains and our feelings and our emotions, we really teach ourselves on how to disconnect and break up the cycle. And as you're breaking up the cycle, think about it in that moment. Is there anything that you can change? Is there opportunity to change an action or response to something? This might be opportunity to create a small action plan to say, hey, next time this happens, this is how I'm going to deal with that. This is how I'm going to respond. Just that little small little tweak breaks up that cycle. Remember, we're all about moving from rumination to reflection. So having an action step sometimes shifts you from rumination to reflection. Next tip I have for you is to break up the thought loop with the distraction technique. So when your mind is stuck on repeat, one of the quickest ways to stop rumination is to engage your brain in something else. And so when that brain is not being used, guess what it's going to do? Think about all the things that it could have done, should have done, would have done, and get you back into that thought. So some things that you could do is to move your body, go for a walk, stretch, dance, do something totally different. Engage your senses, maybe listen to music, go outside, get some light, take a warm shower, but do something to kind of activate your other senses other than in your mind. Another good thing I like to do is journal. Journaling to me is very therapeutic. It's very calming. Sometimes when I can't get what is in my brain out or say it, I can write it down on paper, and that makes all the difference. Another technique that is very popular is called grounding technique, and grounding techniques are things that you could do to bring yourself into awareness in the moment, to bring your senses back to themselves, kind of bring your body back to its current self. There is a free resource that I have on my website, thementalhealthdetox.com, that you could use for grounding techniques. It has 5 different types of grounding techniques that you can implement to help bring yourself back into the current state of mind, awareness, and peace. So check that out, mentalhealthdetox.com, free stuff. And there's other things there too that you can take advantage of. So another thing that you can do to help stop rumination is to train your mind to let it go. Letting go isn't ignoring your thoughts or feelings about what happened, but it's learning to observe them without attaching the emotion. And so this takes training and some real deep effort to do. Sometimes you just have to learn to separate. I'm not going to let this bother me. I'm not going to let this control me. I'm not going to let this impact my decision making. And so you have to set that deadline of saying, I'm just going to let it go. What happened has happened. I can't cry over spilled milk. There's nothing I can do about the past. What I can do is focus on the present and also plan for the future. And so adopting that principle in itself will help you stop ruminating thoughts for good once you realize, hey, let's move on. The last tip I have for you to help you stop ruminating thoughts is practicing mindfulness and thoughtfulness, thought diffusion techniques. And so some things that you could do is label the thought. Say, this is just a thought, not a fact. This is just a feeling. Doesn't mean that that's true. You can use visualization of getting rid of things. I love this technique of balloon release or breaking a plate, but it's some type of symbolization, visualization of letting go whatever it is that's holding you back. Release the balloon in the air to fly away. You're releasing that stress, that circumstance, that thought from holding you hostage, breaking the chain. Having little things like that in place really helps you disconnect from the feeling, the emotion that are tied to these thoughts that we have and they keep replaying. So once you learn to master that technique, coupled with all the other techniques that I gave you, you for sure will stop ruminating thoughts, those negative thoughts from plaguing your life. I hope that you found this video to be helpful. Again, like, subscribe, share. Check out thementalhealthdetox.com. We have tons of resources on there for you to take advantage of for free. And then also stick around and I will see y'all on the next video. Bye.